Alrighty guys, welcome back to another episode of Devil's Den Hockey. It's been a while since I last made a video. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me. I have been pretty sick over the last week or so. Just started feeling better again the last day or so. But again, we're back with another video and it's gonna be a long one. We got three main topics to go over. First of all, the Devils' recent struggles from Christmas onward, Jack Hughes' injuries, and just injuries generally on the team, as well as the new trade as New Jersey picks up Brian Dumoulin. So, I've got a lot to talk about. So we've got our handy-dandy notebook right here. We've made our notes, and I think we're ready to go. So, first part is going to be Devils' struggles. Then we're going to move into the injuries. Then we're going to move into the trades. So, bear with me here, and let's jump into this right away. So, let's talk about the Devils' recent struggles. It seems right now, since Christmas, the Devils have absolutely fallen off the wagon. From October to Christmas, so about 2 months basically of hockey, they played phenomenally. The last 2 months, they have played dismally with some rays of sunshine, which have been great, and other nights, it's like watching someone drag their nails down a chalkboard. Basically, it's been painful at times to watch Devils hockey. There's been a couple of rays of sunshine, like Markstrom, like Allen, like Dawes, like Bratt, and like Jack Hughes, which we will get to in a little bit. But I'm sorry, other than that, this team has fallen off the shine of what the Devils, or what we expected the Devils to be during this year. We saw additions to defense. We saw upgrades in goaltending. And we thought, you know what? This year is probably not the year we win the cup, but damn, we're a better team than we were at the end of last year. And we are. We're a phenomenally better team than we were last year. And the first 2 months of hockey absolutely showed that. But something happened after Christmas. Something happened. Either the Grinch stole their presents, or someone shit in their Christmas pudding. I don't know what's happened, but the Devils have fallen off being a championship team to having the New York Rangers, who have had an abysmal year, chasing our asses to the point where we can feel them tonguing their way into our assholes. Okay? So, the question really is right now, and a lot of people are asking, who's to blame? Is it the goaltending? Is it the defense? Is it the forwards? Is it the coaching? Is it the GM? Well, don't you worry, guys, because I have the answer. Or I have what I consider to be my answer. So, as far as I'm concerned, if you are blaming the goaltending, you are outside your mind. If you are blaming the defense, you are outside your mind. In my opinion, the blame right now is squarely on basically two areas. One, the forwards whose names are not Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt, and Sheldon Keefe kind of, even though it is his first year, he's an experienced hockey coach in the NHL, right, for not changing or adapting the way the Devils are playing. I put it squarely on that, okay? Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt are point-per-game players. They are inarguably our two best players on the team. But what the hell has happened to some of our genuinely amazing guys? Where is Timo Meier? Where is Stefan Nason, who's fallen off since the beginning of the year? Where is Dawson Mercer, who I've talked about absolutely loving, and I still love the dude, but where the hell is he? No one's showing up right now. Holla hasn't done jack shit since November. Hasn't recorded a point. I repeat, a point. Not a goal, not an assist. Nothing since November. What is going on? Now, I'm not expecting, Timo Meier to have 30, 40 goal seasons every year. I'm not. But how about 20 to 25 goals? And he's not even there. Like, it's disappointing that we signed Meier at the height of his career, following a 40-goal season, for him to not really do a whole lot in terms of point production. And I'm sorry, I know a lot of people are going to say, yeah, but he brings the body. Yeah, but he brings physicality. Yeah, and this is true, and even I've said this, but you can't just be a body. You have to get points, especially if you're going to be playing on the second line. My guy, step it the up. Nason, who was on fire at the beginning of the year, who's had opportunities on the second line, has disappeared. Dawson Mercer, who recently signed a 3-year contract with the Devils. Last year didn't do much. This year, after signing a brand new contract, has done even less. Where the hell did everyone go? They disappeared. Holla, who apparently, from what I've heard, is a glue in the locker room, can't get a point. Here's a statistic for you to really show off the issue right now. Between number 4 on the New Jersey point list to number 1, there is a 30-point difference. 30 points! Now, I would expect there to be like 15, maybe 20, and that's pushing it. But a 30-point difference? And by the way, that number 4 is Timo Meier. Okay? That's wild shit. That there's a 30-point difference between number 4 and number 1. Here's another one. There's a 20-point difference between number 3 on the list and number 1 on the list. This is unhinged. This cannot be acceptable. You cannot have Jack and Bratt drag this New Jersey teams kicking and screaming into the playoffs and expect there to be victory, especially when 1 out of the 2 of the guys who's busting his ass every night is now gone for the rest of the season, which we'll get to in a second. But holy shit, guys. Holy shit. What is going on? What is going on with the Devils? Something has to change. This month of March, they better play the best hockey of their lives in order to get back into our good graces. And they should. Now, we as fans also need to maybe calm down with the doom posting and the, oh God, this team is back to not making the playoffs. They're making the playoffs, okay? They are. Whether it was a wild card or a 3rd seed, but they're making the playoffs. But holy shit, there needs to be some drastic talking tos either now or in the offseason, because they can't do this next year. They just can't. And when you want to be taken seriously, you need consistency. Now, on the topic of consistencies, let's talk about injuries to the team, okay? Let's talk about injuries. So, recently, we know that it was announced that Jack Hughes is out for the remainder of the season. He's gone. He's injured his shoulder. He's going to be getting surgery, but he's gone until next training camp. So this is another year where Jack gets injured, and instead of being able to use the offseason to not necessarily improve, but to get bigger, put on some muscle, really focus on the physical side of hockey, because we know he's amazing and excellent at the actual playing of the game, but to bring a little more physicality for next year, he has to rehab. And that's going to stunt, and I hate saying it, this is going to stunt Jack's development. And it is going to make him, all of these injuries are going to make him more prone to these injuries moving forward. And I think, and I'm not, now to be clear, I'm not saying trade Jack. I'm not saying that. I want to make that clear. I'm not saying trade Jack. To be clear, clip this. I'm not saying trade Jack. But if he gets injured more and more and more and more and more, it is going to diminish his value if there ever comes a time when he's like 33 that we have to ship him off. Right? It's going to hurt his case. It's going to hurt his case. We need Jack to remain healthy year in and year out. Having an injury once every couple of years is fine, but he's getting injured every single year. And that's really putting a putting a damper on the Devils when it comes time for playoffs or even the following year. But that's not the end to our injury problem. It's not. Because right now, we've also lost Dougie Hamilton, who is day-to-day, and Jonas Siegenthaler, who is... We don't even have a timeline for his return yet. Sheldon Keefe has openly said, he's getting better, but we still don't have a timeline when he's back to playing. That is arguably two of our best defensemen, our top defensive pairings, gone. Gone. So you now have to stick with Nemeth, who hasn't played great, and you've got to play Casey. You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. And again, your number one, maybe number two offensive guy in Jack Hughes, gone. Your top defensive pairing, gone. You Markstrom just came back from an injury because he was gone previously. This team is so injury prone. And it's not like their fault, but it sucks when you're trying to remain consistent with wins. It sucks when you're trying to be consistent with points, with position, for how it shapes up to be the playoffs, for how they play in the playoffs, who they play in the playoffs. It becomes a nightmare, okay? And as of right now, and probably will continue to be, we're probably going to end up playing Carolina in the first round, which... I don't know, man. I genuinely don't know. And if we do manage to get past Carolina, we'll probably end up playing Washington, which, great. Just great. So, injuries are just, it's a shitty time considering this team is already struggling. It's a shitty time for Jack to get injured. But what are you going to do? It's the nature of the game. So, let's head into our last part of the video. With injuries comes replacements. And Tom Fitzgerald has made his first move of the pre-trade deadline in bringing in Brian Dumoulin from the Anaheim Ducks. Now, Brian Dumoulin has a record of winning. This man is a plus 90-something in his career. He's played the majority of his career in Pittsburgh, help them win back-to-back Stanley Cups. Guy is a veteran of the league. He knows how to win. He's a plus 9 on the Anaheim Ducks, so imagine what he could do for New Jersey. He's not a point guy. He is a defensive defenseman, and that's going to help add stability to our defense, as he's basically going to be a lesser version of Jonas Siegenthaler. Where Siegenthaler is a defensive defenseman, Dumoulin's going to come in, and he's going to try to fill in, probably on the second or third pairing, most likely the third pairing, to maybe work with Kovacevic, maybe give Casey a shot at the second line. Maybe we move Nemeth down, make it like a Casey Dumoulin, right? Get that veteran, young rookie pairing together and see what happens. So, what did the Devils have to give up to get Dumoulin? Well, New Jersey receives Brian Dumoulin, and in return, the Anaheim Ducks receive a 2025 second-round pick and Herman Traff, who is a prospect for the New Jersey Devils. Now, when I first saw this, I had mixed feelings. I did, because a second-round pick for Brian Dumoulin seems a little high, and I still stand by that. I do still think that, giving a second-round pick in order to get Brian Dumoulin, especially considering he's probably not going to be on this team next year, seems like a high threshold. And it is. However, as of right now, I think Brian Dumoulin is making $3.15 on his contract. Anaheim is going to be taking on half of that, so we're only going to be paying like 1.6. You've got Jack on injured reserve. You've got Siegenthaler on injured reserve. So that alone opens up like $13 million worth of cap space, which is great, right? And you only take on one. That still gives you $12 million to play around with. Now, there's been some talks of New Jersey possibly going after Mikko Rantanen on the Carolina Hurricanes. And he would be a really great replacement for Jack Hughes, given they both have the same number of points over the year. Is Rantanen a little bit run down? Sure, but he's got that fast pace, speedy hockey, really great shot. But yeah, so going back to Dumoulin really quickly, I don't dislike this trade, but I don't like this trade necessarily. I'm giving it an average. I'm giving it a solid C plus with some room to haggle. Because right now, that second round pick really kind of hurts. Though I don't think New Jersey's going to necessarily have to draft any absolute studs right now because this team is loaded with them and there is a backlog of guys that we can shift in and out. Fitzgerald is going to be, shifting pieces in and out via trades. Drafting isn't really I don't think it's a big priority for New Jersey right now, but we'll see. I'm giving it a solid C+. If Brian Dumoulin tanks or doesn't do well, I will revise my rating, maybe go for a D+, C-. It really depends. However, if Brian Dumoulin turns into a stud or even just plays like consistent hockey and keeps his plus-minus rating in the positives and does his job, fills the role that we want Dumoulin to fill, then this could potentially become like a B+ possible trade, which, you know what? I'll take it. I really will. So, I'd love to hear what you guys think of not only how the Devils have been playing recently. Let's hear your thoughts on our injuries. Let's hear your thoughts on the Dumoulin trade. I'm sort of let's see what happens. It looks like a Met trade, but let's kind of see how things go, and it'd be interesting. And let me know what you guys think the Devils should be doing to improve their chances of success in the playoffs, if you think we are going to have success in the playoffs. So, that's going to wrap it up here, guys, and I will talk to you in the next one. Adios.